Listening to the Rolling Stones Paint It Black, I'm transported back to 1967. I'm on my way to Nam, got nothing to look forward to in life beyond this adventure called war. I graduated high school in June, was in basic combat training by August. After finishing training as a communications specialist, I'm home on Christmas leave. It's New Year's Eve, I'm in my bedroom at my folks' house, the last night home of my 30-day leave. I'm listening to the top 100 tunes of the year on the radio, counting down to number 1 to be played at midnight, alone with the thought that I'm going to Vietnam and the very real possibility of being killed before reaching 20. It's the loneliest night of my life. When I go to Vietnam, I leave behind Leela. I'm off to war to drink deeply of a darkness in my soul, a rite of passage into manhood, and I don't want to be concerned with an idealized girl back home. She writes me, I don't write back. She writes again, this time a scathing letter, telling me she's giving up on me because I haven't written her. I'm sorry to lose her, but it is a relief. It will be more than 4 decades before I realize what I've lost in her and write her an apology letter. It never occurred to me that anyone outside my family would give a shit about me. I'm in Vietnam for 18 months over 2 tours in various artillery units. While I'm there, I always try to seem cool because I live in a constant state of fear, anxiety, or panic. It's late night at the Special Forces compound in Trung Lap, my first tour. Nights we often fired high explosives randomly into the jungle darkness, supposedly to interrupt enemy activity, to harass them. Shooting snakes seemed more likely. Early in the day, I'd noticed the handbrake on my side of the cannon didn't seem to hold when we shifted the gun. I made a mental note to tell the chief, but then forgot it. The day passed as usual. Evening chow was followed by the usual routines. It was a quiet night. The call for a fire mission comes around midnight. I'm the assistant gunner and so will pull the lanyard. Everyone is walking away while I wait for the command to fire the last round. Nobody's watching when I fire. The brake doesn't hold, and the recoil rolls a gun up the back of my leg, throwing me flat on my face. I'm pinned, and the crew is walking away. I want to say something, but I don't dare speak until I can minimize the fear in my voice. Somebody want to get this thing off me, I say. Sergeant Anuska turns and sees me. He yells, "Get up there, you guys, and move that bad thing." I'm not hurt beyond a bruise and a scrape. A few jokes are made about a dust-off to base camp and cold beers. It's just another day. There's no tomorrow in Vietnam, just today, right now. Sometime in a far-off future is when you go back to the world and life is supposed to begin again. It's now closer to the end of my second tour than I know. We're in a relatively secure fire base somewhere in the Central Highlands. Good weed is plentiful, and I have a case of beer under my cot in the Conwell section's bunker. One night I shuffle over to the mess hall. The new guy Schroeder is there playing a guitar and making up songs about anyone who comes in. He makes a song up about me. It's funny. I'm flattered and I laugh. I like Schroeder. He's a funny, cool guy. He doesn't belong here. He makes up a song about the captain who just walked in. I'm alarmed. You can't make fun of officers, but it's okay. I'm sick of the Army. I've been in Nam longer than some of these guys have been in the service. I'm coming unglued. I'm offered an allocation for an R&R to Taipei, and I grab it. A week of drinking and whoring, clean beds, showers, and exotic food does me good. In Quy Nhon, waiting to fly back to my unit, I hear we've been hit, and that Schroeder was killed. I go over to Schroeder's gun and ask his corporal, what happened? He looks at the ground and doesn't answer. Schroeder was the 3rd guy I made the mistake of liking who died the next day. I'm a jinx, don't get me in. It's the end of my first tour. I'm waiting for the flight out of Tan Son Nhut Airport for the Freedom Bird that's going to carry us back to the world. It's not a day I ever thought would come, the day I would leave Vietnam for home. I'm not ready for this. I'd left from Tay Ninh base camp after a contentious week. The sergeant bullying had me screaming obscenities and threats of murdering him, resulting in me being busted to private yet again. Me and another guy go out to the grass airstrip to hop a flight to Saigon on a Caribou cargo plane. It's dusk. We're standing at the dispatcher's hut. The last plane out is taking KIAs, he tells us, referring to bodies of those killed in action. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for the morning flight. I look at the other guy. We shrug. I turn back to the dispatcher. We'll wait till morning, I say. I just don't want to fly with dead people. Something spooky about the whole thing. But maybe I should have. Every day we wait for this plane. Now it's in Hawaii. What is the problem? There's an air-conditioned beer hall run by the Air Force for sergeants and corporals. Me and Harrop are at the door, and the guy there wants ID to show we've got rank. Who needs this shit? From inside, I hear a voice boom out. Sergeant Cox, Sergeant Harrop, how are you guys? The guy at the door turns around and says, you know these guys, Sarge? We're in, thanks to our old chief, Sergeant Anuska. Cold beer, good talk. This is living. I heard you was dead, Cox, somebody says to me, and of course I reply that I am. Ferraro and Johnson were both headshot. Some other guys were killed in action, but it looked like most of us made the year. Finally, the plane comes, courtesy of Braniff Airlines. We're in formation, roll is called. We look at each other and try to wrap up a conversation that has no ending. Somehow we agree. This is something everybody should go through, and nobody should go through. When I return home in 1969, the first question I'm usually asked is, were you at the front? Followed by, did you see any action? Or my favorite, did you kill anybody? All questions asked with a pained look of concern. I'm tongue-tied. There is no front, I start to say, but I would have to explain the entire universe to make that simple point, so I stop. I've discovered YouTube. Now I sit in front of my screen and punch in, painted black, and see videos of Huey helicopters swooping down low, picking up squads of grunts for a magic carpet ride over the trees and rice paddies. Images of jet fighters bombing and napalming the jungle greenery. Images of yesterday, almost half a century ago. The chill creeps over me as the feelings return. The danger, the excitement, the thrill, the power and abandon and terror of it all. The music, the horror. I'm home now. I am a rock. I am an island. And a rock feels no pain, and an island never cries.